Hello everybody, it is me, Adam, and welcome back to another video on the Flame Does Motorsport channel. Now, we have just had the very exciting Hungarian Grand Prix, so I thought since the mid-season, I'm going to reveal my mid-season driver rankings using the help of a tier list maker. Now, before we dive into the video today, make sure you do subscribe and like the video. Now, without further ado, let's do it. Let's get into the tier list, shall we? So, we're going to be starting off with Alex Albon here. It's his first time back in F1. He's had a year break. What do I want to put him? I want to put him in beta. He's had a solid return to the sport and has had some very good points finishes, including Australia. Can't remember where else, actually. I've just embarrassed myself there, haven't I? Fernando Alonso is up next, and that is going to be a solid A tier already. He is once again showing that age is just a number and is performing way better than Esteban Ocon. He's only had really one moment that I could put down to him being his fault off the top of my head, being Australia qualifying, where he crashed the car after being on a good lap. But apart from that, the only reason he's behind Ocon in the championship is because of those terrible mechanical failures and DNFs. Next up, Valtteri Bottas. I'm going to put ahead of Albon in B tier. Ahead of Albon, please. Thank you. Ahead of Albon in B tier. I don't think he's quite an A tier. He's definitely better this season than he was in Mercedes. But he's just not been the best driver in the season so far, so I've got to be a bit harsher, and I'm going to rank him B tier. He's had a few very good performances and has scored most of Alfa Romeo's points as well. Pierre Gasly. I want to put him C tier. He had a good start to the season, I think, but Tsunoda's been there or thereabouts for him, and he's made a few poor mistakes recently, out in Q1 the past couple of times in his home Grand Prix in France, and just now in Hungary, having to start from the pit lane. Next up, Lewis Hamilton. Not been the best season for the 7-time world champion, but I still place it as A tier ahead of Alonso. That's because there have been a few mistakes. At the start, he wasn't as fast as George, but the car was very bouncy with the porpoising on that Mercedes, but they've worked around that now. Next up, Nicholas Latifi. I'm not even going to be kind to him. That is our first F tier of the day, as he just has not performed well at all, nowhere near the level of which his teammate has performed. He still needs to score points this season, and yeah, just a bit disappointed in Nicholas Latifi. He could honestly be doing better after those crashes in Saudi Arabia as well and everything. Charles Leclerc, your other championship protagonist, I'm going to place him not ahead of Hamilton in A tier. I'm going to place him there in A tier. At the start of the season, he was absolutely dominant, winning in Bahrain and Australia. Oh god, I forgot half the season already. Bahrain, Australia, yeah, all that. And came back in Austria and won. But there have been a few mistakes like France and Imola that have cost him the lead in the championship, but more down to the Ferrari strategist. Not quite A+, but yeah. Kevin Magnussen, I'm going to put him in a solid B tier ahead of Albon, as he has came back this season unexpectedly after the sad war in Ukraine with Russia, with Nikita Mazepin being taken off the team and Magnussen coming on, and he has really proven himself. P5 in that Bahrain Grand Prix in his inaugural race back, and has really performed really well ever since, outperforming teammate Mick Schumacher as well. Lando Norris, I'm going to say that is a solid A tier as well. He's been carrying McLaren this season, and he is the only reason that they are in the fight with Alpine in the first place, as Daniel Ricciardo simply hasn't been there delivering the points. I think he's had a little bit of an upshot recently, but not much, not enough to make Daniel Ricciardo be able to stay, in my belief. Esteban Ocon as well, I'm going to put him in A tier just ahead of Norris as well. A lot of drivers in A tier this season, having a few prime seasons and all. Esteban Ocon has had a good season ahead of Fernando in the championship, as I have said before. When Fernando's car has not been finishing races because of mechanical failures and such, and when Ocon's has been finishing races, he's been up there very well, scoring the points for Alpine and putting them in that fight with McLaren for fourth in the Constructors, which they are currently winning going into the summer break now. Sergio Perez, it's not been the greatest season for him in the Red Bull, and I'm going to put him in B tier because of a few mistakes. He has won in the Monaco Grand Prix and played as the second driver in Red Bull's master plan to Max Verstappen in instances like Spain, where he could have won, shoulda, woulda won in Spain, but had to get out of the way as Max was in the championship fight with Leclerc, and his gap is now like 80 points. Verstappen's is now, or something like that. Next up, Daniel Ricciardo. I'm going to be very harsh to him as well and put him in that F tier behind Nicholas Latifi, as he has not been performing to standard, got hardly any points from McLaren, and he's probably going to be out of the team by the end of the season. Just an overall disappointment, I feel. Okay, George Russell, he is going to be the first driver I'm going to put in the A+ tier, as after Hungary, Mr. Saturday really is back and performing very well. All season he's done well, ahead of Hamilton in the championship right now. Very good season, multiple podiums, and his consistency, always finishing in the top 5, fails to disappoint me. Next up, Carlos Sainz. I'm going to put him in A tier, just like his teammate Charles Leclerc, ahead of those guys there. Good season for Carlos Sainz. When Leclerc couldn't win in Britain, he was there. He got pole position in Great Britain and won the race in Great Britain as well. And has had a few standout performances from there as well, even finishing ahead of Leclerc in Hungary just now as well. Mick Schumacher, I'm going to put him in D tier. I don't think it's been as good a season as you could have hoped for Mick Schumacher. I mean, not the greatest ever. Just, he's cost the team millions in a few crashes, like most notably Saudi Arabia, and then there was also the crash in Monaco, possibly even costing the team points at one point maybe as well. Lance Stroll, I'm actually going to be quite generous to him and put him in C tier behind Pierre Gasly. Has not been his greatest season ever, I will admit, but he has had a few standout performances as well, even in France, defending against his teammate on the last lap to get the final points paying position for the team and himself. Next up is the substitute of Nico Hülkenberg, who you have to place him in A tier, as he came back for the first 2 races when Sebastian Vettel had COVID-19 in Bahrain, beating out Lance Stroll, and same in Saudi Arabia. What could he have been like if he'd have stayed all this season? I don't know, but in the couple races that he has been here, he was absolutely on it, and you can't really put anything to fault him, really, as he's only been in 2 races, yeah. Okay, Yuki Tsunoda as well. I'm going to put him in B tier, ahead of Alex Albon, as it's been a good season, but recently there have been a couple more chinks in the armour and everything. A few spins that are a bit unnecessary, putting himself in some bad positions. Not all of it being his fault, but still, it has happened, and yeah. Next up, your championship leader, Max Verstappen. I'm going to put him in A+ ahead of George Russell, as he is the championship leader. He came back from such a deficit in the start of the season and has really dominated the season ever since, and a very mature drive in the Hungarian Grand Prix, from 10th to 1st in that race just gone by as well. Sebastian Vettel, again, I can't really fault him. I'm going to put him in A tier as well, just ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, as he came back from COVID-19. Not absolutely on it on Australia. That was a bit of a disappointing race, but he has scored most of the team's points and been a legend, Sebastian Vettel. It's a bit more of the old Sebastian that you would expect to see and everything. And finally, we have Zhou Guanyu. I'm going to put him in C tier for a rookie, to be honest. I feel that he's been great this season, but doesn't quite... He's like a C+, not quite a B, but like... There's obviously been a couple standout performances. This is his rookie season, but I feel he could have done better in some instances and everything, and yeah. C tier for now, but we'll see where he ranks in the end of season driver rankings as well, which is exciting. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you do subscribe and leave a like as well. Share this video to your friends as well. I will see every one of you in my next video. Goodbye, everyone.